Hey, what's up guys? I've got a video here I think will help a lot of guys, especially some of the newer shooters. What I'm going to talk about today is the difference between MOA, mil radian, and 1/4 inch at 100 yards. All right, now on your scope, whether you own one now or you're getting ready to buy one, you'll notice there's going to be some options. One's going to be in mil. It'll say mil. Mil stands for mil radian. MOA is minute of angle. Both of these are angular measurements. I'll get to that in a second. And then there's 1/4 inch or sometimes 1/8 inch. Now at the 1/4 and the 1/8 inch, what that means is for every click that you move the scope, it'll move it 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch, depending on how it's set up, at 100 yards. Now at 50 yards, it'll move 1/8 of an inch. At 200 yards, it'll move 1/2 inch. It's kind of an angular measurements, but it's not exactly the same as mil radian or MOA. But it gives you an idea of how far your reticle will move to get you zeroed at 100 yards, and that's all that stands for. Now, guys here in the States, we're used to using inch and foot and yard and miles and this kind of stuff. We just will not get right with the rest of the world. So we still use imperial measurements, and they don't correlate with anything else in the real world other than we know what they stand for. We still buy our whiskey by the fifth. We buy our gas by the gallon. We rate our cars on miles per hour, not kilometers an hour. So we kind of have our own thing going. So that's what the 1/4 inch and the 1/8 inch scopes are set up for. They're set up for US citizens that are too damn hard-headed to get on board with the metric system. All right, now MOA. MOA and mil radians are both an angular measurement. If you picture a circle, there's 360 degrees in a circle. In each degree, there's 60 minutes of travel. So one MOA is 1/60th of 1 degree. Now at 100 yards, that translates to very close to 1/4 inch. Not exactly, but very close to 1/4 inch. And because it's an angular measurement, what that allows you to do is take that measurement out to further distances. And if you know the height of the target that you're shooting at, whether it's a deer from his back to the bottom of his chest is 18 inches, a man from his waist to the top of his head is 36 inches, you can use that to range downrange and make your sight adjustments accordingly. If you don't have a rangefinder, you can use the reticle to do that with. Now MOA stuff is normally just found here in the States. Occasionally you'll see it overseas, but normally it's here in the States that you see that because guys are still not comfortable with the metric system. Now when using mil radians in the metric system, everything is based on tens, so it's actually easy to figure out. At 100 meters, not yards, 1 mil radian is equivalent of 10 centimeters, which is about 4 inches. So at 100 yards, it's going to be about 3.6 inches. If your brain works that way, and that's the only way you can figure this out. But you take that mil radian scale and run it out to distance. With the mil radian scale, you can very rapidly gauge somebody, how tall they are from certain sections, how broad they are across the shoulders, make your sight correction, adjust for the elevation, and expect to get it on target. Now the wind and everything else comes into play with this, but on paper, if you know the trajectory of your round, you're able to do this. Another thing that's really nice about mil radian stuff, and it also works with MOA, if you go to a range that say goes out to 1,000 or 2,000 yards, you can get a ballistic chart from online, figure out the exact ballistic coefficient of your bullet. That's subject for a whole nother video. If you know the speed or approximate speed, you can get the trajectory. So once you know the trajectory of it, you can just reach up, dial your turret to however many MOA or mil that the holdover is going to be. And even if you don't hit the gong or whatever you're shooting at, it's going to be very close, and you should be able to spot the impact so you can fine tune your adjustments. Now the fourth one that you run into, there's less and less of them out there, but they are still around. That's something that may have like an MOA reticle, and it may have mil radian turrets. Now when that happens, you don't have anything that you can dial accordingly to the reticle. All it does is give you some holdover points, and you can maybe cover up the turret with a piece of tape and make your own marks. The mismatch stuff is something that happens a lot on budget scopes. If you'll look at the catalog before you order it, it should say that the reticle and the turrets both correspond. Now if it's something like a duplex, it doesn't matter if the reticle corresponds. But on the reticle, if it does have reference points, you want to make sure that the turrets correspond with them. Otherwise, when you do range it, or you're out with your buddy shooting and you're telling them come up 2 mils, They won't be able to do it if it's half of it's MOA and half of it's mil. It doesn't make sense. Anytime you got two type of measurements that don't line up, you're going to have problems. Ask a carpenter about that. Guys, I hope this short video helped some of you guys understand or just get a basic understanding of mil, MOA, and quarter inch. And if it did help you, check out some other videos. I've got a lot of other videos that kind of break down a lot of this stuff, hopefully in language you can understand. Guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it more than you could ever freaking know. If you don't mind, hit subscribe below. And if this is something that's helped you, that might help one of your new shooting buddies or one of your old-timey shooting buddies that's hard-headed and doesn't understand how anything works, take a link to this video and send it to him. Take care, guys.